Welcome to No Mama Grow Mama with your host, Naledi Stones, where we discuss all topics related to health and wellness for you and your whole family. In this episode, I speak with Gary Direnfeld, a social worker specializing in parenting and family life. This episode is amazing. I really enjoyed speaking with Gary. It was a little bit tempting to go and start asking him specific questions about how I'm doing things with my kids. But really the biggest take-home message from this episode is connection. You can solve any problem with your kids with connecting with them. And I'm definitely integrating some of the things that he spoke about in this episode in my day-to-day life. So I really hope that you enjoy it as well. And like he says in the episode, just let it percolate for a minute and see if anything, if you're inspired to do anything a little differently in your home. Enjoy. Welcome. Here we are with Gary Direnfeld, a social worker specializing in parenting and family life. Thank you, Gary, so much for coming to chat with me today. I'm really honored because I first learned about you years and years ago before I had children. And it was a show on Slice that you were talking about helping families.
Newlywed, Nearly Dead.
There was another one that you were on, I believe, though.
You know what? I've been on a lot of radio and television. So
yeah. But the one I'm thinking of, it was you were weighing in on families struggling with young children.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my goodness, I forget the woman's name. She does a lot of parenting stuff herself. Erica M, maybe.
Okay, maybe. I don't remember the details, but I just remember I didn't have children, but I loved your way. Like you just had this really nice way about you. And so it's pretty cool now, 3 kids later, that I get to sit down and chat with you about
3 kids later.
3 kids later.
How old are they?
5.5, 3.5, 1.5.
Wow, you just became a hero to a lot of other mothers out there.
No hero. This is the thing. I'm chatting with you because it is wild. Like I love my children, but it's like navigating through parenting in a way that's safe for them and for me is a journey every single day. So can you start by just sharing a little bit about who you are and what it is that you do?
Yeah, well, I'm just a guy. I'm a 60-year-old guy. Look the hair, it's a little gray. And I'm a social worker. All that means is I help people to get along and I help people to feel better about themselves. I've been doing this gig for 34 years. I don't know how old you are, but that might be longer than you've been around. And after 34 years of practice, you gain a lot of experience in a lot of areas. So depending on which kind of silo you know me from, you may see me as the family guy, the parenting guy, the marriage guy, or the guy who's helping separated parents sort out the care of their children. So there's a number of different silos. But at the end of the day, I help people to get along and help people to feel better about themselves.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So like you were just saying that you have watched a lot of families. Is that really where your specialization with family life comes from, is just observing different families and sitting back and reflecting on the dynamic?
I love families. I love children. I just love people. And I like working with people who are in distress. And some people think I'm nuts because of that. They concern themselves that my day is filled with gloom and doom. But it's such a wonderful job. What people don't realize is that whenever I start with someone, they're typically in a bad place, otherwise why see me? Mm-hmm. But my job is fabulous because even though they start in a bad place, typically they end in a good place. Right. And I get to see that transformation. I get to be part of that transformation. And that's a wonderful privilege.
Yeah, I imagine that would be a nice feeling, especially if you do end up seeing it, the happy ending sort of thing.
Yeah, and we're not always helpful to everyone, right, but on balance, certainly more helpful to those than we're not. Right. And counseling, social work, psychology can really make a profound difference in a person's life.
Right.
Yeah.
What is the most common challenge that you're seeing with families particularly families like myself with young children, what's the biggest challenge that we're having?
So that's a very good question. And how I'm going to answer that question today in 2016, or what's left of 2016, is different than how I would have answered 10 or 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, parents, we all want our kids to be well, healthy, responsible. And when parents were calling me 5, 10, 15 years ago with behavioral issues, with concerns for how their kids are getting along, we would talk about how to manage behavior. But that's all changed. And it's changed because of the internet, social media, and all these devices that have shrunken down, that we now carry them in the palm of our hand or on our wrist. Mm. With the advent of these devices, what people don't realize is the more connected we are through the device, the less connected we are socially, meaningfully within our own family.
Right.
We have a disease of disconnection within families. Going back 15 years ago, going back 20 years ago, the concern was latchkey kids. We have 2-income working parents or a single parent who's working, and the kids come home to an empty home. Mm-hmm. And we worried because there was a lack of supervision and a lack of safety. Mm-hmm. And we'd say, you phone us, phone me when you get home. And, then the phone had this wire that plugged into a wall. Mm-hmm. And so there was a bit of a disconnect there between parents and child because of this latchkey thing and parents out working. Then the computer came along, these big desktop computers. And we told parents, for goodness sakes, keep that computer in a common area. The family room, the dining room, the living room, the kitchen. And no one listened to us. Those computers quickly went into the bedrooms. And the kids got more and more into the video games. And then as the internet became more and more popular, they're still into the video games, but they're surfing more, and then social media. So these latchkey kids, or even if the parents are available, they come home after school and they sequester themselves away from any social interaction with the parent. So now there's a greater disconnect within our own home, within our own relationships.
Right.
2007, I believe, the first iPhone, 2007 or 8. Sorry, I could Google that as we're talking, but yeah. I think that. But the iPhone comes out, and the first people to own the iPhones were the parents, and particularly, you had to have a certain income to afford the device and to afford the connectivity. The prices came down, the connectivity came down, and then a year or two later came the Android system, the Android operating smartphones.
Right.
And that brought the price of these devices down by almost half. And so now not only do the parents have these devices, so too do the kids.
Right.
So latchkey kids, we're disconnected from our children. Computer in the bedroom, we're more disconnected. Now the child comes out of the bedroom to have dinner, but now the parent isn't available because they're on their device. Now both parent and children are on their devices.
Right.
And at the same time, we're saying to the child, the world is a dangerous place. The world is a dangerous place. And I don't want you to have this device. It's only in cases of emergency. If you're going to be raped, pillaged, looted, beaten up. You and I didn't really worry about those things growing up. And the truth of the matter is, our world, at least here in Ontario, is way safer now than it was when I was growing up. So we're instilling fear in children. We are more tethered to these devices, and these devices are keeping us apart. And then we wonder why we have behavior problems. Then we wonder why we have childhood anxiety.
Mm.
Then we wonder why we have babies that we can't soothe.
Right.
We're disconnected.
Yeah.
So that was a very long history lesson to say that 5-10 years ago, when we talked about behavior problems, we didn't worry about the connection. We assumed it was there.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about discipline and all these other things. Today, all the conversation is about getting reconnected.
Yeah. I feel like that. Even as you're talking, I was a latchkey kid, totally. And now I am, a parent in the technology, social media era as well. What I can see like as the common thread, and I don't know if people want to go back further than that, it's about the connection between human beings. Like whatever it is that's like getting in the middle of it, it comes down to the connection. And I can say for myself, whether it was because I was a latchkey kid or just, the techniques of my parents, like I just didn't feel like really well prepared for parenthood. I don't know like what it is specifically. I'm not blaming anything, but it is like it's the facts, especially that, as we walk into our kids, we're not prepared.
So these changes are structural.
Yeah.
These are, some of them are economic, some of them are social, and some of them are technological.
Mm-hmm.
So these are social, economic, technological changes that have interfered with the transgenerational transmission of how to parent.
Right.
And that's a lot of jargon and a lot of big words. It just means you didn't pick it up from your parents because they weren't as available. And now we're less available as a result to know what the heck to do with our kids. And at the same time, as we're changing our kid, we're doing this, we're saying, hold on, and we're talking here, we're not coochie-cooing the child.
Yeah.
Okay? And now what is this child's experience of our emotional connectedness?
Right.
I mean, when we do this, hold on, and we're changing the diaper, what does this child learn about making eye contact?
That doesn't happen.
Big wow.
Yeah.
And then we wonder why this child is anxious. They don't have a social anchor.
It's true. So I like that we're talking about this in this way. I love it because, okay, well, I guess I could ask you as well. Do you feel like the technology itself is bad? Like, people talk about TV and screen time. Do you feel like it is partly the box?
No, technology is neutral.
I agree. I feel the same.
Technology is neutral.
Yeah.
It's what we do with it. It's the degree to which we use it wisely or not wisely, the degree to which it inadvertently, because we don't even recognize it, interferes with our life and our relationships.
Yeah. When it interferes with the personal connection between people, not the technology, it is the connection. I love this. Okay, great.
So I do a workshop that's been wildly popular through schools. The schools can apply to the Ministry of Education here in the province of Ontario for something called a Parent Reaching Out grant.
Right.
And that is to pay for people like me to come in and provide workshop services, things to the parent group to help connect them to the school.
Okay.
So I've got a workshop that's been wildly popular, and I call it Raising Awesome Kids. Right? I mean, who doesn't want to raise awesome kids? And I'm forever talking about this connection. I'm forever talking about the disconnect. And parents, they were, am I a good parent? And parents don't want to be blamed, and parents don't want to be shamed. So to understand that it isn't an issue of being you, the parent, being good or bad, it is an issue of the interference from the technology.
Right.
And so we have a new generation. Oh yeah, and part of what I do in this workshop, part of the way through it, because half the parents are worried about childhood anxiety. This is epidemic right now. Yeah. So I ask the parents to take out their smartphone. This is actually a recorder, but I'm going to pretend it's smart. I ask them to take out their smartphone, and I introduce them to the off button. And I say, let's do a little social experiment. Turn off your phone. You can, the anxiety is palpable in the room when we do this social experiment. And I said, now you know why your children are anxious. They are too so tethered to this. The thought of being taken away creates distress. But why do we need this? Why have we created, what is that about? Do you know that kids today are actually at risk of greater harm for owning a smartphone than not?
Because of what you're saying, being like overly.
No, because they're going to be beaten up for the darn smartphone. They're literally at greater risk of being accosted to have their phones stolen than they are at risk of stranger danger or whatever, crossing the street, whatever, for not having a phone.
Really?
So statistical.
Okay.
So this device, the parents, you got to have it. It's to say it creates anxiety, and it actually puts the child at risk of greater harm.
Okay.
There is the irony. The kids want the devices not because of safety, because of fun. Their motivation for having it is totally different from ours. So here's what happens. We have these devices. We lose our connection. Kids' behavior goes squirrely. Kids these days are under the belief that they know, well, they always thought they knew more than adults, but now even more so. They have this sense of, who are you in my life? But really, the only time I get your eyes focused on mine is when my behavior steps out of bounds. Okay, because you're on your phone, I'm on mine. I'm not hearing, oh, you're such a sweetheart. Come here, let me hug you up. Let's go make dinner together. Oh, let's go for a walk. Hey, did you, we don't do that anymore.
Right.
So when my behavior steps out of bounds, then the parent is evoked to action, and it's, why are you doing such and so? And the kid looks up and says, who are you? You don't have any legitimate authority in my life. You're never there before. And I resent, quite frankly, the disconnect. I can't articulate it because I'm a kid.
Yeah.
But I resent the disconnect. And now I resent you trying to admonish me because I don't recognize your authority. Wow.
Yeah.
This is society today. And there's no blame of the parents in it. This has crept upon us without anyone seeing it.
Because I can say that I have even seen it a little bit. It's hard to admit this, but I've even seen it with my 5.5-year-old.
Sure.
And she doesn't have a smartphone. She does get to watch TV, but yeah, like, and I always think of myself not as a helicopter parent, but like I like to be in their world all the time. So I know, like, I felt for myself, like, how did this happen that we spend time together with our family? Like, we have reading story time like every night, and we have family meals together. Like, how does that get to that place? And then it's really about, like, okay, how do you get back from it? Like, I think you have an article about, how do we check back in? Like, what does that look like?
So I want to go call my dog because I want my dog to help me with this.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coco, come. He's coming.
He's coming.
Come on in. Here, come here. Oh my goodness.
Hello.
It's a 7-year-old cockapoo, half Cocker Spaniel, half Poodle. He's actually certified as a therapy dog through St. John Ambulance Therapy Dog Program.
Lovely.
And he's delightful.
He does look delightful. He's got a nice little way about him too.
Now, here I am parenting. And so stay still.
Yeah.
And this is my little one. Okay?
Yeah.
And as I go, oops, hang on. And now I take my phone. And now I go, oops, and now I take my phone. And I go, wait, and now I take my phone. What is the learning of my little one?
Right, that the child is not the priority.
You got it. Versus, Oh, my little one, you see this phone? I'm home from work. Phone is off. I'm putting it away. Come here. Boy, oh, you've gotten big. Right? Now what is the learning?
Yeah, that they're all your whole world. They're just everything to you, right?
Okay, go see mommy. Go get mommy. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, the issue is technology. The solution is so simple, though. Has nothing to do with technology. Just turn it off.
Turn it off.
Just turn it off. Parents these days, they freak out. Forget the kids. The parents freak out at the thought, well, what if my partner phones? What if my kid's in trouble? What if? Turn it off.
Yeah.
So when I said to you, you know, what's going on here, what isn't happening or is happening, you use the word valued. And that's it, 100%. That is the right word. Every child comes into this world, this is sign language for birth, it's very graphic. Every child comes into this world seeking to be valued. The degree to which they get our undivided, it signals to them that they are of value. That settles them down. That calms children. In the absence of that, in the absence of feeling disconnected, they don't feel valued. They don't feel good about themselves. They will be anxious. You can see that in the infant. So I love parents. You know, I can observe parents, and I know the ones who kind of get it and are going to do well, and right from the get-go, those who may run into trouble. And it all starts by watching a parent when their child goes wah. The child goes wah, what does the parent do? The in-tune parent, typically moms, by the way, there are some gender differences here. So the moms will flip the child over, the infant over, and they'll sniff their bum. Right? The kid goes, wow, the fastest thing anyone can do is a poop test. Right? Did you go wow? Because it's a poopy diaper.
Right.
Now, here's a gender difference. The women, the moms, do flip the child over, sniff the bum. The dads, they're holding the child like this. The kid goes wow. They stick their hands down the back of the diaper. Big mistake. Big mistake. That's not how you want to check for poop. No. I think the mothers have it right. So let's say it isn't that poopy diaper. You've done the sniff test. Then the parent says, well, maybe this child is hungry. I don't care if the child is breastfed or bottle fed. I'm not a pediatrician. I'm a social worker. I care that the child gets fed. Period. So whether you introduce the child to the breast or the bottle, you know, is that going to soothe the wah? And, you know, it may not. And so the parent continues a number of experiments until the child stops going wah. So sniff test, feed, and then, oh, well, maybe you just needed to be coochie-cooed. You need it because kids do need to be coochie-cooed. They need to be entertained. They can get bored and kind of, you know, out of, and we give them that attention. They settle down. Imagine that you've now got a smartphone. Kid goes wild, so, oh God, hello, oh, just hang on, right? Hi, yeah, no, and you've got this balancing act.
Right.
How responsive is that? And will that child feel valued in the same way as the other parent?
Right.
So, you know, you do the Salsa babies thing. I think it's wonderful, by the way. I looked at some of the videos. It's so adorable, you know, with right? Because you've got parents, moms, who have smiles on their faces, looking down at their babies, who are looking up at them to this music. They feel in sync with each other. This is wonderful attachment bonding time.
Yeah.
Okay? This is what we need. This will mitigate so many other behavior problems, sleep problems, toileting problems, eating problems. Turn it off.
Yeah. It's neat that it's neat because I sort of see myself as not being like a glued to social media kind of person.
Great.
Well, I see myself as that, but I do have a smartphone. So as you're talking, I'm like, oh gosh, it's so funny. Like we always joke about as soon as you pick up the phone, like the kids could be quiet. As soon as you pick up the phone to answer it, that's when they start to,
Tune up.
yeah.
Hey, look at me. We're still here. Are you still here? Are we still connected?
Yeah.
Do you still love me? Am I still of value? This is the test. Am I still of value against that backdrop?
And I often, especially because I feel like I'm not, I am a really engaged parent. If I am on the phone, I'm like kind of strict, like, shush, you be quiet because this is my time to be on the phone. But it's how you, in every interaction, to be able to like still maybe look at them in the eye while you're on the phone. Because I mean, we are human. Like we do need to still pick up the phone every once in a while, but it is how we respond in each of those moments. Yeah.
Let's forward in age. So it's no longer this infant. Let's pretend it's a 4-year-old.
Yes.
And we've gone through these years of disconnect. And it's 15 minutes to the dinner hour and the smell is wafting through the house. And that beckons the child to the kitchen. Hey, parent, it could be mom, could be dad. Hey, parent, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. And you're tired. You just got in from work yourself. You're kind of harried getting this dinner together. And now your child is like driving you nuts because, and you say it's only 15 minutes, but 15 minutes in the life of a hungry 4-year-old, it's like never.
Yes.
Okay? And so think about that disconnect. The kid already feels disconnected, is going, wah, wah, wah. And what do we say to them? You're going to have to go into timeout. And then the kid tunes up more. And then parents say to me, timeout doesn't work. Well, the truth is 5-10 years ago, timeout worked. Why? Because the kids were connected to their parents. Now, when they're already disconnected, to threaten a greater disconnection becomes fearful.
Yeah.
So now the intervention, what I teach parents, rather than sending your child to timeout when they're driving you nuts, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, find a way to engage and include them.
Yeah.
Pick your child up, stand them on a stool or a chair beside you with whatever the pot is that you're stirring. Say, take my hand, help me stir the macaroni or whatever's in the pot, and give them a kiss. Look at you helping me. This is connection.
Yeah.
Behavior settles down. I can bridge the 15 minutes to eat now because I'm connected.
Right.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. It's I know some people would say like it sounds like more work. You involve your young child into the activity. Depending on what it is, it can make it potentially more work, but it is, it's a good plan because it's so much easier than dealing with.
Your kids are going to get your attention.
Yeah.
Right? How do you want them to do that? What do you want the outcome to be? What are the consequences of that kind of attention? Right? The challenge in all of this, so often we're used to admonishing the child. This is no longer about admonishing the child. This is about being mindful of our own emotional state, managing it, and looking for solutions that facilitate the connection. Very often as the child ramps up, we ramp up.
Yeah.
Right? And so, in this example, the 4-year-old, and every parent can relate to this example, right? You went through this. You still go through it with your 5-year-old. I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. So as we engage the child, we have a different outcome. They're still going to get our attention. What kind of attention do we want it to be? And by monitoring ourselves, by being mindful of our own behavior, what we want to bring to the scenario is our calm.
Yeah.
When the child gets distraught, if we get distraught, we actually mirror their behavior, escalate it, they mirror ours and escalate that. We bring our calm, child is connected, and we mirror the behavior we're seeking from the child.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, we role model the behavior we're seeking from the child.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. That was my next thing to ask you about, because that's a big part of it, like, is being able to find that calm. That's really hard for us, though, you know, it's because they just know how to like trigger you that right way, and then, you know, you just feel it boiling up inside of you. What are good strategies for finding the calm in a really heated situation?
So sometimes it helps to know our own triggers from our own family of origin, how we grew up, and whatever was going on. I came from a very nice family. My parents had a lovely, loving relationship. My dad did not drink. I remember him with the drink once in his hand in my entire life. I know that I did get spanked on one occasion, and in Jewish we say a pachin toches, a little slap on the rear end. Not talking about a hauling,
Right.
you know. So I wasn't abused, is what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
Having said that, my dad was a workaholic. He was never around. He was forever working. You got to know that I have that gene. I'm a workaholic. Love chatting with you. Love meeting with parents. I do a lot of writing. People who follow me on Facebook or LinkedIn, I'm forever putting on new blogs. And so I love what I do, and I do it a lot. I'm a workaholic. And my wife embarrassed me one time. Our son was 12-ish. He comes in the office door behind me. He says, "Hey, Dad, I have this cool video of some kids playing basketball in Harlem." It was, you know, a pickup game between kids. Really, it was a commercial for a sneaker. My wife will pick up that phone in a minute. Sorry, interruption. And I was so into my computer and whatever I was writing on at the time, I blew him off. I said, "Son, I'm busy. I'm well, whatever the heck it was, couldn't even tell you." Not 2 minutes later, I feel the warmth of my wife's gaze at the back of my neck. So I turn around and I'm oblivious. Like, what did I do? I know she's got to get, you know, the fuck. What did I? And she says, "How often does our son ask you to watch something on television with him?" And I thought, she's got me, right? And not in a bad way. She's right. And it was a good thing that she did by bringing this to my attention. So I turn off the computer, go down to the basement where our television was set up at the time. And I say, "Hey, son, I turned off the computer because I now want to spend this time with you." When I came down, he was like this in front of the TV. I say that. He gets animated. He throws in, this goes back a few years, a tape into a VCR, right? Who the heck knows what that is? And it was a 6-minute video of 8 to 14-year-olds playing basketball in Harlem, all wearing End One sneakers or whatever that make is. And they were amazing ball handlers, these kids. Amazing. So we watched that video. My kid had a smile from ear to ear, said, "Hey, Dad, do you mind if I go outside and shoot some hoops?" He got his dose of me.
Yeah.
Okay? Went out. He was fine. So you say, how do we remind ourselves? How do we remind ourselves to spend time, in my situation, to not be a workaholic?
Yeah.
Or to turn off the devices, or to bring our calm. So in technical language, we use something called a cognitive cue. That's just jargon for reminder. So right now, as I'm talking to you, above my monitor, is that reading correctly to you?
Flip it around.
Flip it around. Thank you.
Relax.
There is the word relax, carved in wood.
Yeah.
And I got this at some kiosk somewhere. Clients come into my office, they see this sitting up here, excuse me, they think it's a message for them. They're in the therapist's office, relax, you know, let's do therapy. That's not for them. That cognitive cue is for me. I need that reminder. I need it all the time because I am I am that hardcore workaholic. I love what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So that word carved in wood is a reminder to me, turn off the computer, go spend some time, you know, back then with our son and my wife. Now it's spend some time with my wife and our dog. But it's a reminder. And these days, we need those reminders. We need those cognitive cues. This is a very, you know, I started to talk about this because you said, how do we do it? What's the strategy? This is the strategy. We need something front and center to say, turn off the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Grab your kid, pull them closer, snap that kiss on their face, and then release them and go.
Yeah.
Who was that masked man?
Yeah.
They'll think you were crazy, but they're gonna love that.
Mm-hmm.
So write yourself a note. Turn off the phone, or grab my kid by the face when I get home every day, or devices off at dinner, you know, for the half hour to the half hour after, or whatever it is, whatever goal you set for yourself to reconnect. Write it down, pin it to the fridge, or write it down, fold it up, put it in your pocket so that you have that reminder.
Yeah.
It's a very potent strategy. It's so, for goodness sakes, don't put it in your phone.
I was going to say, yeah, you could put it as a reminder on your phone to turn it off.
No, go low tech. Go low tech on this, because it will help you to appreciate that you're going low tech.
Yeah.
All about establishing that connection. Your kids won't be used to this. When you come home, at the end of the day, you come home, shout, kids, or partner, I'm home and I've turned off my phone. They're gonna think, so what? Because you've turned off your phone first, you're setting the expectation. Right. So now when I come to my child and say, and now you turn off yours. It's not do as I say, not as I do. It's I do, and then I say.
Yeah.
So I'm coming to the party with credibility.
Well, that's the same as turning off your phone, and that's the same as what you were saying about finding the calm too.
Yeah.
I'm finding the calm first, and then you find the calm. So for everything, yeah, you do it first.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, you know, do that 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row. See what else transpires. See if it doesn't change your relationship with your partner.
Right.
See if it doesn't change your relationship with your children. I have parents who come back to me because these are some of the things we'll deal with in counseling, amongst other things. And I always ask them, when people come back for a return visit, I don't quickly say, how are things? I want to know what percolated from our first meeting. You know, what stuck with you? What did you think about? Hey, I hope the listeners or viewers of this vlog, whatever, I don't know what we call this thing. I hope they're going to think about this. What percolated from listening in today? And what is your takeaway? What are you going to remember? What are you going to think most about?
Right.
What percolated? Then I'm going to wonder, what did you do differently?
Right.
Because you know what? If nothing percolated, if you didn't do anything differently, why would we expect anything to change?
Absolutely.
So what percolated? What are you doing differently? I hope people will say, yeah, I actually turned off my phone. I actually grabbed my kid by the head and planted one on them every day.
Yeah.
The first day, they're going to think you're nuts. The second day, they're going to resist you. The third day, they're going to fine.
Yeah.
And then you got them.
And then they start to enjoy it. Yeah, cool.
Okay. So what percolated? What are you doing differently? Then I'm going to say, what's changed? And typically, I'm going to hear that things have improved, behaviors improved, things have settled down. Look, this isn't the magic bullet. It's not going to end all problems that some families do have. But it's a quiver in the, or it's one of the arrows in the quiver.
Right.
It's one that we bring out.
Right.
And sometimes what I get from parents in terms of what has changed, they tell me that their children comment that, Mommy and Daddy, do you love each other more? I hear comments like that because the kids know that something is different.
Right.
Parents have settled down, relationships improved, and they just wonder about these things.
What caused it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's neat.
And so some children are actually spontaneously commenting on the changes they experience. It's wonderful.
Yeah, that's really wonderful. So I love, you have so many great resources that talk more about, you know, what it is that you're saying right now. And I hope that if people do, like you said, let it percolate and start thinking about what does this mean to me and what I've just heard. And I hope that they would go to your website because you have over 100 different articles about, you know.
300.
Okay, I didn't even see them all.
Yeah, and over 300 audio and video clips, because I do a lot of work on radio and TV.
Right, okay.
And it's almost like issue answer.
Yeah.
So for all those articles, they're just one pagers. They're quick read. Here's the issue, here's the answer. And
okay, I was talking about a different part of your website then, but that's great but what I was going to say is that some of the resources you have, it will say, you know, this is what the title of it, and this is what you would use it for. So I actually, you know, I was scrolling through and looking at like, wow, some of the stuff is really applicable to me. There's things about parental separation, like you've got tons of great resources. We're going to put a link to it in the show notes so people can find you, find your resources and find you as well.
www.yoursocialworker.com.
That's right.
And from there you can also get to my professional Facebook page and to my blog and to my Twitter and to LinkedIn. So follow me. I'm forever posting stuff about this. And in many of my posts, not all of them, but in many, when people comment, I do respond to a lot of them.
Cool.
So, you know, it's nice to sometimes have a bit of a dialogue. I can't do therapy on Facebook, but we can dialogue a bit.
Right. Excellent. So I'd like to sum up every episode with asking my guest to share 3 things that you would love for new parents to know, or new parents at any point of the game. 3 things, whether it's a summarize or something you haven't talked about yet.
Sure. So I'm going to summarize the 3 things. Connect again, and connect again. So the kid who doesn't get up in the morning, rather than badgering them, get up, why aren't you getting up? I'm going to get right. Crawl into bed, set your alarm clock a half hour early, crawl into bed with them. They're going to, why are you here? Oh, listen, I set my alarm a half hour early. We got plenty of time. At first, they're going to be furious with you. But say, no. I'm tired of fighting with you. I figured I'd join you. And keep calm. Bring your calm. Sweetheart, honestly, I'm not here to fight with you. Every morning has been lousy. When you were a baby, I used to cuddle it with you then, and I miss it. And you know what? I figured if I crawled in with you when you were asleep, and this isn't to be an icky thing. Don't go sideways, right, or wonky thinking. This is a sweet, lovely thing to cuddle up with. And what a message. I used to do this with you when you were a baby. And things have gotten out of track. And I miss that, and I love you. What is a kid to do with that? Right? Like, I want you to blow their minds.
Yeah.
Rather than thinking in terms of discipline, think in terms of connection. So that's, you know, after school, whenever it is you get home, we're always harried thinking about the next thing we have to do, or the extracurricular activity that we have to run to, or the food I gotta shove down your gullet before we go out to that activity. When you get home, I've turned off the phone, hunt your kid down, give them that hug, squeeze their face, give them a kiss, and look into their eyes and say, I just needed the pause that refreshes. Yeah, or whatever line you want to use. And then go off to do whatever the heck you want to do. Don't linger, don't hang around. Say, okay, if we just want to say, in this moment, I'm remembering you and you matter most. All of a sudden, life has a different trajectory. Pardon me, I stutter sometimes. And that third connection is at bedtime. You know, sweetheart, you're about to drift off to sleep. Big hug and kiss. If you've got one of those teenagers where things are out of whack and you feel you can't do this, in the middle of the night, get up out of bed, go into their bedroom, they'll be asleep, give them a kiss on the head. Do this. Like, it sounds weird, sounds wonky. Do this. In the morning, tell your kid what you did. Say, you know, we've been at each other's throats and upset. I just want to let you know that I came in last night and I gave you a kiss on the head. And I love you. And leave. We want the kid kind of stuck there trying to figure this out.
Right.
And they have to resolve that dissonance. I thought my parent didn't love me. Now they did this. Either my parent is crazy or they do love me.
Right.
They're going to fall on the side. They may not know what to do with it in the moment. But that already changes the trajectory of whatever has been going on, and it gives you an opportunity to reconnect.
Right.
So connect, connect, connect.
That's so easy to remember. Just connect. Yeah. That's lovely. Thank you so much for this chat today.
My absolute pleasure.
Incredible. So yes, we'll put the link for yoursocialworker.com in the show notes, and enjoy letting it percolate from this chat today. I know that I will be letting it percolate because you've forced me to think about things that I didn't think about before. So take care. Great chatting with you, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.